Hi guys, my name is Christina and welcome to my channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to share your art and survive it, basically. And by surviving I mean that putting your art out there can be really scary. There is many reasons why you can be scared. For example, you are sharing something that is close to your heart. You're sharing something that you've never done before. You are sharing something that you're not feeling confident about, or it's just your first time. You are just started doing art and you're just starting to share it. So there is so many reasons why it can be scary, and it was scary for me to show my drawings when I just started drawing anatomy and just started to experiment with people, and I was in 5th grade. Drawing naked people in 5th grade, you get bullied in 5th grade for literally anything, and if you give people an actual reason to make fun out of you, yeah. For me personally, it was scarier to share my writing. So when I actually wrote my first novel and was sharing it with a friend, and then when I was sharing it with an editor, I remember I was waking up the morning after I gave my manuscript and I was thinking that I made the biggest mistake of my life. I felt so insecure. I felt like I don't want anybody to know this. I don't want anybody to read this. That was very scary, but you have to share your art. In my opinion, art is meant to be shared. That's the point. And the stories that you are feeling a little bit insecure about sharing, probably those are the stories that you have to share, because when you put something important in the story, you have to share it. And the stories that are not shared, in my opinion, they do not exist. They're kind of irrelevant. In today's video, I'm gonna give you some tips that might help you to overcome this fear of sharing your art. Those tips are more ideas for the new mindset that you might want to have when you're sharing it. And the first one would be, you and your art are not one of the same. It is very easy for us artists to really associate ourselves with our art and connect really closely to this. But I think the healthy way would be to have a reasonable distance between you and your art, and understanding that you and your art are different. When you're creating your art, of course, there's not a lot of process going on. You're very closely involved. There's a lot of thoughts in your head while you're creating this. A lot of things you're trying to put in. However, you as a person, as this huge human being, like with the amazing personality, like, oh my god, such a complex creature, and your art will be nothing more than actually just result of your work, result of your craft, result of your actual skill, and result of your thought process. It cannot possibly embody you. It can't. It can embody some parts of you, but also it's ultimately just a result of your work. And obviously, as we go through life and as we're trying to do better job at creating our art, we will be getting better at getting this result of work as well as we possibly can, and as close to our idea in our head that we possibly can. But ultimately, it's still going to be just the result of your work. So I think it's going to be helpful for you to look at your art in this way. There is you and there is your art, and your art is just what you were able to accomplish at this point of your career or stage of development. Stage of art development. You get me. Next point, when thinking about how people are gonna think about your art, think about your art as if, does it fulfill your purpose? What you were trying to do with your art, and were you successful? For example, if you are trying to write a poetry and you want to write a poetry describing feeling of grief, and you want to add your concept and your point of view on grief, and the point of your poetry, of your poem, is to make people feel certain sadness and feel this sad feeling of grief exactly how you wanted to depict it. And for example, if people are reading this and they're like, oh my god, that's so sad, I really don't like reading sad stories, oh my god, that's too sad. Well, it's not bad, it's actually good, because that's what your purpose and you fulfilled it. So if you look at the art this way, then when you get criticism from people, you can easily sort it out as if, does it mean your art is successful? Because ultimately this is also what it is. Art, being a result of your work, should do what you intended it to do. If it intends to evoke some strong feelings from people, and if those feelings are evoked, you succeeded. So I think it is very helpful for you to look at your art from this point. Then it will be easier to get criticism, and it will be very easy to sort criticism that is not valuable and doesn't mean much out, and actually take criticism that is actually constructive and can help you. For example, people say, oh, it makes me feel this feeling instead, then you'll be like, oh my god, means I failed, and can you explain why it makes you feel this way? And then you learn it, and then you can do a better job next time. I think that is also a very helpful thing to keep in mind that might help you to feel more courageous. My next point is to share your art with the right audience. For example, what if you wrote a huge novel all about baby bunny named Todd and his baby bunny friends and how they love each other, that they have fun together, and how they jump around in their beautiful fairy tale forest. And for example, you want to share this story with your dad and you give it to your dad, but your dad reads hardcore sci-fi and murder mysteries, for example. And your dad will be probably nice to you and probably will say nice things to you, but ultimately he will not enjoy the story because this is not the story that he naturally reads and consumes. That's another point. When you share your art, you need to make sure you share it with people who naturally would want to read this, that it's naturally within their sphere of interest. Because there is no art that is awesome and works for everyone. Every artwork has its audience, and this audience is a limited group of people. You have to understand who is your audience and who you have to share it with. For example, if you share it on the internet, share it on the correct website, give it the correct name, give it a correct genre description, let people know what it is so that you attract the right audience for you. That will save you a lot of heartache. Audience that will come to your story will be the right audience for you, and then if they give you criticism or they give you feedback that may be a little critical, it's more likely gonna be helpful criticism. My second point, be your first harshest critic. And I'm not saying to bully yourself and like do some self-hatred exercise. No, what I mean is use the points that I gave you earlier and think, well, is the purpose of my art fulfilled? What I was trying to do and what did I end up doing? This is a result of my work. How close it is to my original intention. Analyze it through this lens and train yourself to see for yourself if your art is successful in the constructive criticism sort of way. And if it is, then when you give it to other people, you at least know and you have peace of mind that, well, I did all I could for myself to the best degree. I deem it good. If you put it out there, you will be calmer, and if you get criticism back that is actually give you a lot of good ideas, then it will help you to expand your own way on criticizing your work, and you will become a better critic of your work, which means you're gonna judge it better, and it means you're gonna create a better work eventually. Also, being your own critic is very, very important. It is not that easy to be subjective about your own art, but you need to try. There should be a very cold-hearted critic within you that will look at it really point by point. Is this working? Is this working? Is this solid? Is this perspective all right? Is this anatomy correct? Is this emotion displayed correctly? This is part of the craft. You have to be able to judge things correctly to then produce better material. And this brings me to my next point. Understand what is constructive criticism versus non-constructive criticism and just subjective opinion. I don't want to say that whatever some people might say something and you should just dismiss it and say, oh, it's their opinion. Be a critic of their criticism. When people are telling you something, analyze if it's constructive, if it has something to do with your work, or it has something to do with their perspective. So there are several points that I think it's important to consider within this category. What is the reason why people have certain opinion about your work? Is it has to do with their subjective perspective? For example, they say, oh, I hate landscapes, they're so boring. For example, obviously it's their perspective that is very, very subjective, so it has to do nothing with your work. However, they say the colors, it looks dull, it looks a little desaturated, everything kind of mixed together. When I step into meters, it kind of everything blends. And if it was not your intention, then their perception is very useful for you, because you can tell from this that your art is not working as well as it should, and then you should keep it in mind for your next artwork, your next piece. Or for example, if people are saying, well, I don't know, I just don't like it, I don't like it. That gives you no reason, and those people cannot tell why you don't like it. They don't have details, and thus that's kind of useless, so you don't have to work yourself up because of this. Just relax. If people just say, I like, I don't like, blah, 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 that's fine. Another thing you need to look out for is, what is those people's background? Are they artists themselves? So if, for example, somebody is criticizing your anatomy, somebody is criticizing your composition, somebody is criticizing your color work, somebody is criticizing some skill aspect of your work, if they are an artist themselves, you might want to listen and also look at their work and see if they actually know what they're talking about. And if they do, that's a very valid thing. And if they are not, they probably don't even know what composition is. Well, that's roasty. Wait a second. Some people don't know the correct terms for things. That's absolutely true. I have people who are saying to me, yeah, people don't have this muscle. I'm like, yeah, they totally do. And they work out. Wow, somebody's salty. But basically, sometimes people, if they're not experienced in art craft, their advice that is based around the skill and like aspects of painting as craft probably won't be valid, just because they might not even have understanding of terminology, they didn't look at it themselves, they didn't research it. You might want to think if it applies for your work, most likely not. For example, I would say if you're looking for craft criticism for your work, I would say go directly to your artist friend and say, hey, does this perspective look solid? Is this color work working for you? Or for example, if you go to your friend that doesn't know the aspects of the craft and you ask them, hey, how do you feel about this? Like, does it work for you? Do you feel happiness? Do you feel relaxed? How do you feel? And finally, see what those people are trying to achieve while giving you a criticism. Are they genuinely trying to help, or they want to give you a negative feedback, just they want to upset you? And also, do they just want to boost your self-esteem? Because last two, a little useless for you as a craftsman, as a person who learning the skill, the person who is trying to perfect their skill set. Because if they want to make you feel a certain way, that's not really what criticism is about. Criticism about hearing the opinion and hearing the feedback and getting the feedback of people. And if their feedback is trying to make you feel a certain way, that's a little weird. That's probably not criticism, something else is going on. So check if the feedback that you're getting back is helpful at all. If the people who are giving it, what background do they have? Are they just your audience and you want to see if they understand whatever you were trying to deliver to them with this art piece? And what is their agenda while they're giving you this feedback? This overall will give you an idea how to process criticism. And my last point is stop caring about all of that. So to the degree, obviously, if your art is important for you and making your art the best it can be is important for you, if you want to make it your profession, feedback and criticism and everything is essential. It's important. But however, it might not necessarily be your goal. For example, your purpose might be just get it out of yourself and share it with people and just let people know. That's also can be your reason. And if this is the case, you don't have to take criticism. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about any of this. Maybe you just want to post it on some printable website when people can purchase it and then print for themselves. When you just offer it to people who will grab it if they want it and will just skip if they don't want it. Maybe just don't offer people the option to comment. That's totally okay too. We can get problematic with there, but I hope we all understand like that I'm talking within reasonable degree. We're not talking about problematic art right here. That's also can be solution for you. Just avoid feedback as much as possible if that's not the point. You can choose to disable comments if it's necessary. If that matches what you're trying to do with your art, do it and don't worry about this. Not necessarily everybody needs feedback or wants feedback. So I hope these tips were helpful and I hope it will give you some encouragement to share your art, share more of it. I hope you're having a good day, guys, and let me know if you have maybe ideas for the videos that I can do for you. If you have any specific questions or anything of the sort, I will be very happy to make it. Because I have a lot of things that I can be talking about. So I'd rather be talking about something that you guys are very interested in. Let me know in the comments down below, and if you have a story about how you were sharing your art and how you overcome the fear of sharing it, let me know down below. Let's talk, let's have a conversation. Comments are open for this video, of course. I want to hear your feedback. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much, guys.